What I'm about to show you is a powerful manipulation technique that you can use to generate sales, to make people in your market or your audience obsessed with you and the things that you do and never want to buy from any other competitors again. Manipulation might sound uh, a bit dark, but all marketing, when done correctly, is manipulation. This just happens to be one of the more powerful concepts to understand and to integrate into how you're marketing to be able to really that almost to make it feel like manipulation if you're using it wrong. But remember, all marketing is manipulation in one way or another. All coaching is manipulation in one way or another. You manipulate someone to make the right moves or the wrong moves. All I ask is that you don't use this for evil, right? You can use this to make someone believe that they need to do something that they don't even want to do, or you can use this to make someone walk down the right path that you know that they should be walking down because it's best for them. Please use it for good and try and do the latter. So we're about to go into a really powerful marketing technique that you need to integrate into your business if you want to thrive. Most people don't know that this exists. Most people, especially people that are coaches or teaching coaching, have never ever thought about this stuff to this depth ever. And even if they have heard of these concepts and heard of these words, they've never understood how to fully actually put it all together into something that's a coherent strategy that actually works and basically is a vein throughout your entire business and everything. So every single thing that you put out in your marketing and everything else is actually meticulously thought through this frame. Most people do not know this or do not know how to actually use it if they do know it. And that's the exact reason why so many coaches are feeling like they need loads and loads and loads of followers to get any sales. And it feels like sales are kind of like searching for a needle in a haystack, because they are actually only signing up 3% of their audience or less because they do not understand this. This is the exact reason why coaches feel like they need to put their prices lower, compete on price, compete on access, because people are shopping around on price and thinking about it and deciding between competitors and everything else. It's all because they don't understand this strategy and this concept. So in this video, we're going to go really deep into this concept. And it is a concept. It's a concept to understand first and foremost. We're going to go deep into some examples of this, how you can implement it into your own business. And then we're going to be looking at the principles of this concept, meaning that you're going to be able to take this concept and use it, but you're also going to understand some really, really important psychological principles of marketing that are going to be present throughout every single thing that you do. So at the end of this video, you're going to understand something that by the way, I've never shared this publicly. I've shared it with clients, and it's an absolute game changer and blows their mind every time every time a new client understands this. You're going to understand this, but you're also going to be able to become much more meticulous with every single thing that you do and put out, because you're going to understand these 5 principles that we're going to go through as well. So that's probably enough of an intro. Let's get into it. Promise you, this is going to blow your mind. So it's called the indoctrination ladder. Again, pretty manipulative sounding name, but again, when we think about marketing properly, we are indoctrinating people into believing the right things that they need to believe to take the right actions. We are always selling ideas, no matter what we're doing. And as you go into this video, and by the time that you get to the end, you're going to completely understand what I mean by selling ideas, what that actually means, and how to do it yourself. Every single thing that you put out, even if it doesn't look like you're selling, you're always going to be selling. So let's get into it, the indoctrination ladder. So like I said, clients, this is one of the first things that I run through with clients. It's one of the most important things that I run through with clients, and we use this to create their messaging and their positioning. Before, usually the picture is they have very few leads. They keep feeling that, leads are few and far between relative to their audience and everything else. They're feeling like, they're experiencing that people are shopping around on price. right? People are coming into their world, they're having a conversation, they might jump on a call, whatever else, and then, oh, I've got a few more calls lined up and I'm just going to see, who's the cheapest or who I want to go for and everything else. So no one's really sold on them, and there's no urgency for people to buy from them. Okay, maybe later, I'll think about it, right? We're going to diagnose all of that in this video, so you're going to understand that. And once they've understood this, they've implemented it, they've integrated it into their business, because this isn't a strategy, this isn't a tactic, this is a foundational thing that most people miss, that actually wants to be integrated into everything when it comes to your business and your offer. After we've done that, they have a unique message that stands out, and it's a message that stands out that they can clearly map on one piece of paper, because it fits on one piece of paper, and you're going to see that in a second. They are getting people attracted to them and in their audience who are sold on them and nobody else, which makes for very easy sales. It makes for them being in the position of leverage when they're actually selling, which means they don't have to compete on price, they don't have to compete on accessibility, and they can sell how they want, which is why me and many of my clients sell in the DMs instead of calls, because you don't need a call once they're sold on you already. And the biggest thing is you win over your competition. Like, not win over, but you beat the competition, because you're going to see exactly how the indoctrination ladder is the invisible psychological battle that is going on in the marketplace at any one time. And this is already happening, but most people don't know about it. So when you do, you win the battle. So the indoctrination ladder, let's get into it. We're going to go straight in with what actually is it, right? Now, you may have seen these in terms of levels of awareness in the market, but most people don't actually use that for their entire messaging. So this is the indoctrination ladder, right? We have 4 levels that anyone in your market is going to fit into. They're either going to be pain aware, problem aware, solution aware, or product aware, right? Pain aware means and this is going to be a real quick introduction to the concept, because we're going to go into some principles on how to use this after and some examples. But pain aware people, right? This is the biggest amount of your audience. This is actually 100% of your total addressable market. Because if they're not aware of pain, right? If they are not aware of pain, you shouldn't be marketing to them, because there's no point. There's enough people that are aware of the pain that you solve that you can market to. So the first level that we think about is pain aware, and this is 100% of the people that you can market to, right? They're aware of a pain. If they're not aware of a pain, they're not going to buy anything. The next level up from that, which is the next level of indoctrination, because we're going to build your ladder, right? Most people look at this in just a general market sense of what are they aware of, but we're going to make yours so you can actually sell all of these different things, and you've designed this meticulously. The second level is problem aware, which means this person is, if there is a problem aware person, they are aware of the pain that they are in, e.g. being too fat, but they're also aware of the problem that is keeping them in that pain. So there's a pain, and then there's always an underlying problem, right? Level 2 is they are aware of the problem. There's always going to be less people here in the market than here, and less here, and less, and way less here, right? So every step up, if you're looking at the market as a whole, there is much less percentage. Who knows what the percentages are, but let's say there's 100% here, 50% here, 25% here, and 3% here. Okay, so problem aware. The next level up is solution aware. So they're aware of their pain that they do not want anymore. They're aware of the problem that's actually the deeper underlying reason that's keeping them in this. And now they are also aware of the solution, or they believe, by the way, because their awareness might not be correct, right? This is how all of these stupid, let's talk about weight loss teas, right? Weight loss teas will fall under this, and people will be aware that the solution is weight loss teas. It might not be true, but it's enough of a belief for them to act upon that, and then not act upon other purchases because they think, oh, the tea is the answer. Anyway, then we have solution aware. So they are aware of the solution as well. Again, much less of these people. And then right at the top, we have product aware, right? Let's say weight loss teas. They're 25% of these people are aware that they need a weight loss tea to lose weight. By the way, remember, that's not necessarily true, but it's true in their minds. So they're going to act upon that. And then the final one is they're actually aware of what product they are now sold on, a specific brand of weight loss tea, because of their marketing and everything else. Pretty much the brand knows how to do this, and then they only want to work with that person, right? So understand that these are the levels of awareness that we want to take someone up to indoctrinate them into our way of thinking. Because throughout this video, what you're going to understand is how you can actually create your own one of these. So instead of just being, let's say, just because we've been in the fitness and weight loss niche in this conversation so far, let's say you're a fitness coach. The way to become a unique market of one, category of one, that you can actually sell people on your stuff, your brand, instead of just fitness coaching in general, is you design this yourself. You choose a specific person and pain to target. You identify and diagnose and help them understand the specific pain that no one else is telling them that they have, right? You then create a specific solution specific to these people and this specific pain that you've sold them on. And then you direct them to your product that does this. When this is unique, this is the levels of indoctrination. So you take all of this 100% of people in pain aware and you move them up the indoctrination ladder by selling them on these ideas. But there's another thing to understand as well, right? Which is the people that are higher up are much more ready to buy because they're so much clearer. For example, that person that's like the person that's just overweight, or the person that's really sold on the idea of them needing weight loss teas, which one do you think is going to be more ready to buy? It's going to be this one, right? Because they're so much more set on other decisions have closed for them. They've gone away from other decisions that could be taking their decision, or they have the causing them to think about it, and they're pretty certain the solution's weight loss tea. I just need to choose which one I want, right? Which is again how this allows us to beat our competition, because as they walk up your indoctrination ladder, they're walking away from someone else's. If you are a health and fitness coach helping people with fat loss, if someone is walking up this weight loss tea, I don't know why I'm talking about weight loss tea, but it seems to be a good example. If this weight loss tea company has told them that, like, I don't know what they say, but it's like, oh, your metabolism is the problem, right? For the problem, the solution is you have to drink this weight loss tea twice a day. And they've bought this. They've become indoctrinated upon this, these ideas. They've bought these ideas, right? Now they're walking up their indoctrination ladder. Guess what? They're walking away from yours as a fitness coach. So now they're not even looking at you anymore because they're thinking about this. And the same goes the other way around as well, right? This is why this creates our message, because you don't just want to be a fitness coach, you want to create this yourself. So we understand that the higher up the ladder, the smaller the pool of people, but they are much more ready to buy because they've already decided all of these things. So that's a very quick understanding of the concept. We're going to go much deeper into all of those things that I've just spoken about in the principles. But let's look at where people get this wrong, or sometimes they don't even know, but they're getting this wrong, right? Where most people go wrong. So most people, coaches, they just post content and they don't actually market. So here's the first big thing to understand with this. This is actually marketing, right? When you understand the ideas that you need to sell people and the beliefs that they need to buy into to then buy your product, right? You now begin to market. Most coaches, like 95% of coaches, they are not marketing. They are posting content and hoping for the best. They're posting tips. They're posting content on anything that comes to their mind related to their niche. And they're just providing value and hoping for the best, right? Which is not how we want to do this. We want to have a unique set of ideas that we understand that we need to sell someone, and then we need to market to them, right? Part of that marketing wants to be unique versus other coaches in your space as well. Because if your whole thing is, imagine this, right? If the whole thing is, and you're going to see examples of this, by the way, but if the whole thing is, okay, men are overweight, the problem, you haven't got a coach and you don't have accountability and you don't track your macros. The solution is track your macros, have a coach and have accountability. Product is my coaching. That is not a complete indoctrination ladder. You've completed it in terms of filling in the blanks, right? But it's not going to do good. Do you know why? Because you're not just marketing for you anymore. You're marketing for everyone in your space. So you can sell someone on all of these ideas and then they can still choose someone else because you sound exactly the same as everyone else, which is why generic coaches do not win. When you have your own unique indoctrination ladder, that is when you win. Second place where most people go wrong, they only speak to the top levels of the ladder, right? They only speak up here. They don't realize that most people are not even, they're aware of their pain, that they're fat, but they're not even aware of what the problem actually is, the underlying problem. So then they're not even listening to the solution. They're not even listening to the solution. It just goes straight over their heads. So then the product they don't care about, right? So they're just doing this. Like we said, if you remember here, the higher up the ladder, the smaller the pool of people. These people are the ones that experience needing to get loads and loads and loads of followers, loads and loads and loads of leads, loads and loads and loads of traffic to be able to get a tiny percentage of sales. And they only ever convert a tiny, tiny percentage of their audience because they're only ever speaking to these people. And they're just hoping that people work their way up the ladder instead of being able to meticulously engineer a marketing system that is able to actually continuously drive people up it themselves. So they're only ever converting 3% of their audience. I'll give you a really good example of this that finally isn't to do with fitness, because I work with all niches of coaches and consultants and creators, which is mindset coaches. Mindset coaches are the absolute worst for this, right? Because mindset is actually the problem slash solution, right? Mindset coaches, so many of them are completely broke and struggling for money and struggling for sales and growth and everything else because they are just selling mindset. Now, I can talk about this in so many different angles. Mindset is just a skill set. It's not an outcome, blah, 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 blah. But the thing to understand now is they're selling mindset as the solution. And they constantly are putting themselves out there as, I'm a mindset coach. Come, I'm going to help you. But people aren't actually, it's going over so many people's heads, right? Apart from the few that have actually, like the 3% that have come to the conclusion themselves that they need a mindset coach for whatever reason. It's going over everybody else's heads because they're not actually sure of how, like, well, what pain are you speaking to? First of all, how is mindset the problem? Can we explain that? And then how is mindset the solution, right? And by the way, if you do look at the mindset coaches and you look at like the outliers that are making loads of good money, and they're like they aren't using this, guess what? They're coaching other mindset coaches. They're coaching other mindset coaches or other coaches on mindset. Do you know why? Because that is the 3% that are solution aware, that mindset is important. And you see this across the board. Okay. And the final thing is never building their own unique message. Like I just spoke about, if you can't create your own unique message, and these are just literally like a fitness coach's, like a generic fitness coach's steps or something else, you are not marketing for yourself. You're marketing for everyone, which means you can talk about all of this stuff and they can still go to someone else. Okay. So this is why most coaches experience signing clients feels like finding a needle in a haystack, because 3% out of their whole entire audience are signing up. They're obsessed with new followers and new audience because, again, to keep up with that 3% only signing up, they need to keep new people coming in. And they're having to compete on price and access because they look the same as everyone else. So why would anyone choose them over anyone else? This is what we're fixing in this video. Let's go. So I'm going to give you some examples because I really want to make sure you fully understand the concept of this, because this is a simple concept. This is a very simple concept that once you understand, you will never be without. Like, this isn't something you do once and you leave it. Like, this is a concept that is throughout everything when it comes to marketing and business. So I really want you to understand this before we get into the principles. So I'm going to give you 3 examples. My one, a mindset coach's one, and a fitness one. Let's give you a fitness coach's example. By the way, this was actually a client of mine that we designed this together. This was a fitness coach who actually wanted to move from coaching women, because I work with a lot of coaches who feel like they're doing well, but they've outgrown their offer and they want to shift. And I'm very, very good at helping people do that. He went from coaching women online, fitness coaching, to wanting to help men. And he was very, very good at the hormonal stuff. And by the way, we grew that offer to 10K, from 5K to 10K in about 5 or 6 months. It went really, really well. So here's his example of his indoctrination ladder, right? Because remember I said that a lot of the time, most coaches aren't marketing. They're just posting content. And even if they are marketing, this is just the generic coaching steps. So they're marketing for everyone. This is how this fitness coach created his own unique indoctrination ladder. So when he's selling these beliefs and these ideas, he is selling people on his way and nobody else's, so they can only sign up with him. Watch this. So pain is also pain and problem, right? Because it's a person with a or pain and sorry, I said pain and problem. I meant pain and person because it's a person with a pain. So pain, the pain we locked in on is men in their 40s plus that feel fat and out of shape. Simple. Pain, by the way, is the most surface level thing that they can just see. It's most of the time a symptom of a deeper root cause, but it's just the surface level thing. You don't have to get too clever on pain. Pain, by the way, when you're creating this for yourself, pain is how do they say this thing? What is the thing that they're thinking about when they're driving home from work or they're going to sleep? What is that thing on the top of their minds? How would they describe it? Right? That is all pain is. It's very, very easy. So for his, it was men in their 40s that feel too fat and out of shape. Okay, cool. That's the pain. Now, most people just stop there and they keep talking to the pain, right? They keep talking to the pain in their content and they think about all the pain points and everything else and they start saying them all of the time. But then everything else behind that, the product, everything else, why they're in that position, there's no uniqueness to that one bit. It's all just the same. So we then once we've come up with the pain, and by the way, I've got so much to say on this, so we're going to be stopping and going into loads of things. The pain, by the way, is your market, is your niche, right? The pain and the person that you choose is the arena that you're fighting in, okay? Just understand that. So that means, and you're going to see this in the next slide, the next example, a mindset coach isn't necessarily against all the other mindset coaches. A mindset coach is actually competing against the other people that are fishing in the same pain pool. That's really important to understand because the pain that you choose is the pain, it is the competition that you play. So pain, men in their 40s feel too fat and out of shape. The problem, and by the way, once we get to problem, it's not now what's on their mind. This is now what you are going to indoctrinate them with. What are you going to make them believe that is the reason why they are in pain, right? Now, this is why I said, don't use this for evil. Don't lie because you could. And a lot of people do, which is why a lot of shit is sold in the world. Don't lie. Tell them the truth. And by the way, this is exactly why a specific person and pain at the bottom is very, very important. Because if this was just men, we wouldn't be able to have this problem that we're selling them on, which is the problem is they're training like they're still in their 20s. Their hormone profile has changed because they've got older. Testosterone is lower and it is holding them back, right? At this point, by the way, when we're explaining this message, we can then raise the stakes by saying, look, if you continue training like you are, if you continue listening to these 20-year-old Instagram influencers and following their plans, not only are you not going to get into shape like you haven't been before, you're going to be doing more damage because your hormones are only going to be in a worse off place because you're working a lot, you're older already, and the hormones are already damaged. So the solution to actually losing this body fat and getting in shape, the solution to then solving this root cause problem, which is hormones, is instead of longer training sessions and stricter diets, you need a men's testosterone specialist to create you a specific lifestyle training and nutrition routine to improve your testosterone, right? So the solution there, I could have written that a bit better, to be honest, because the solution is really you need to improve your hormone profile and your testosterone to be able to finally get in shape and stay there because the game has changed. Now you're over 40, right? The product, I do this inside my 90-day testosterone blueprint program. Do you see how when we build a brand around this indoctrination ladder, as more and more people are believing each and every step, once they're up to this solution point and they realize, oh, I need a men's testosterone specialist because my big problem isn't that I need to train more and I need to diet and I need to download my fitness power or anything else. My big problem is that I need to improve my hormones. Do you see just how many other options and competition has now been pushed down for him to make that decision, has now been cancelled for him to make that decision? Because once he believes this, he can only go to a select few people and probably only this coach that he actually follows, right? So this whole game of marketing It's like a big game of Guess Who. Do you remember that game, Guess Who, when you push down the things? We want to make your audience believe certain things so that all of the other faces, all of the other options are pushed down and not viable options anymore. So you are the only one. So this was example number one, real life example that really worked. Got this fitness coach to 10K. It would have gone further, but he didn't like business after that and he actually stopped, funnily enough. Second, mindset coach. And this is why the pain is really important. And the pain is your arena that you are going to be playing in, right? Because here's a mindset coach example. Like I said, mindset coaches always get everything to do with business wrong almost all of the time. And they have a terrible time because no one wants to buy mindset. Mindset is a skill set that you apply to an outcome, right? This is why mindset coaches have a hard time. But when you understand this, it becomes easy. So first of all, you decide your pain, right? Mindset isn't a pain. What's the real life actual pain? For this mindset example, solo entrepreneurs who are trying everything, but their business still isn't growing, right? Do you see again how the pain is your arena? So this guy is now not against other mindset coaches. He is against other people solving these people's problems, this person's pain, whether it is a mindset coach, a fitness coach, or a health optimization coach, or a business coach, right? So then this mindset coach specifically takes these solo entrepreneurs who are trying everything, but their business is not growing. And his job, his marketing job is to sell them on this belief that the real problem is not the business strategy or tactics. The real problem is that your default thought patterns are forcing you to hold yourself back. Remember, even between mindset coach to mindset coach, this should change because this should be your unique angle, your unique philosophy and belief, and your unique mechanisms. So then we make them believe this. So then the solution that we then show them to is, look, you don't need these funnels, these ads. You actually need to go deep into your subconscious mind and rewire your default thought patterns to align with the reality that you want. That's the solution, right? And as people walk up this, they start to realize, oh my God, this is true. Obviously, this is where marketing comes in. This is where your content comes in. Content gives context to your offers, right? That's what content is. It's giving context to your offers. So every single one of us, once we've got our indoctrination ladder, right? Our content, our messaging, our marketing is a constant ongoing argument for our beliefs so people can buy into it, right? So what's this guy going to do? He is going to constantly post proof, examples, social proof, his own experiences, life event experiences that back up this claim. So more and more people believe him, right? That is how you actually make a sale instead of just provide value and hope for the best. Then after the solution, we present the product. This is exactly what I do with my clients using the subconscious rewiring system. Simple, right? That's how you actually build a marketing message. Final one is my actual real life example. And again, like I said, do not use this for evil. This is why when I work with a client, we start with your true philosophies, values, and point of view when it comes to your niche that you do. We ask, what are the things that everyone else is saying or believing that you don't actually agree with, and you can see that this is another way as the expert? Because when we have that, we have your unique angle on things. So this is mine, and this is my true thoughts and beliefs. This is not manipulation because, well, it kind of is, but I know that this is actually the truth, right? And this whole video is an example of this. And like I just said, this video is an argument for this case, even though I happen to be saying the example here, which is the pain that I'm going for is coaches whose business feels like it's okay, but stagnant and not growing consistently, right? So coaches whose business is stagnant, pretty much. That's the pain that I'm going for. The business is stagnant. And I come along and say, look, it's not the business strategy or tactics, right? You don't need to add a load of people on your close friends. That's not going to make a difference. You don't need to learn better hooks. The real problem that your business is stagnant and it's not growing is you look the exact same as everyone else. If that never changes, everything else will stay difficult. You can do a funnel, you can run ads, and some things can help for a little bit, but it will constantly be an uphill battle until you look unique in the marketplace, just like any other business knows this, right? The solution, you need to set yourself apart in the market as a category of one with a unique brand, unique messaging, and unique mechanisms, right? That's my true belief. And as you can see with this video and all the other videos, everything is seen through that lens because it's just truly what I believe. Product, we do this by building your signal brand. This is the the introduction of the unique mechanism, your big idea, your way of doing this. You should be building this as well so people want a signal brand or your version of it. Just like in this example, people are going to need the subconscious rewiring system, which should be that coach's unique mechanism, unique way, unique pathway, unique way to do this thing. Final thing to understand with these examples, and by the way, like loads of the teaching and understanding is in these examples, so stay locked in with this. Final thing to understand is, do you see how, although I am a business coach, if we put a label on it, and this is a mindset coach example, do you see that we are actually both fishing in the same pain pool? The mindset coach is going for solo entrepreneurs who are trying everything, but their business isn't growing. And I am going for coaches whose business is stagnant. There's overlap in the pain pool there. Guess what that means? I'm not just competing against other business coaches. And this mindset coach isn't just competing against other mindset coaches. We're actually competing against each other. Me and this mindset coach, right? Who wins? The winner is the one who, first of all, is able to sell them, whoever it is, the prospect, on the problem. The mindset coach wins if he's able to sell that specific person on the problem that it's their thought patterns that are holding them back. I win if I'm able to convince this person that the problem is that they look exactly the same as everybody else, right? The beauty of all of this is the truth is obviously going to be different between each and every individual. And as we put out our philosophy, our point of view, our way of seeing this thing, our angle, the people in which it rings true to will be attracted. So yes, your philosophy, your angle may not actually be true for every single person ever, but the people that it rings true for are going to then be attracted, right? So they're the examples. Hopefully by now you understand the indoctrination ladder. That's the biggest thing. But now you've seen what it is, right? You understand what the indoctrination ladder actually is. Now you understand that, by the way, hopefully you will never forget that. You're going to see it in every single piece of marketing. You're going to understand this and you're going to see this now. But now I want to get into some principles on how to use it, right? Because there are principles within that I haven't dug deep into yet that are actually really important to understand and to harness inside using your indoctrination ladder and creating your own, and outside of that as well. So let's look at how to actually use it. This is going to completely change the way that you think about your marketing. So principle number one, I think there's about 5. This is huge, right? And we've kind of touched on this. We've kind of touched on all the principles, but we're going to go a bit deeper. Marketing is 80% around selling the problem, right? While everyone else is trying to shove solutions down people's throats, they're trying to really, really make people believe that their coaching is the best or their solution is the best, right? We sell the problem. Because if you look back here, remember this battle between this psychological warfare between me and this mindset coach. The solution's not the winner because there's a step before that. The winner is the one that is the first person that's able to sell them on the problem, right? And no one does this. So when you can make this shift, your marketing is going to become much easier and you're going to instantly start to see that people care much more about what you're saying, right? So we sell the problem because once someone is aware of the problem and it's a unique problem that not as many people solve as all of the competitors in the pain pool, now they can only buy from you and maybe a select few other people, right? So think about this in your own marketing. The first biggest question is, what's the pain in person that you're going for? And then what is the specific problem you see that they do not see, that other people do not see, that you are going to make them believe that they have or make them aware and understand that they have? If you don't know that, you're going to have a very hard time. Now, if you are looking at this, and maybe I'm going to use fitness again because everyone understands fitness. We all have a body. If your pain and problem is like overweight people, you're going to have a very hard time coming up with a specific problem, because overweight people within that have loads and loads and loads of problems, right? So this is the exact reason why people say niche down. Most people only ever provide 50% of how to actually niche down, because they only know it, right? They only know 50% of the story, which is be specific with who it's for. But you only do that so everything else upstream from that can be specific as well. So again, if you're going for overweight people, how can the problem be specific? It can't be. So if you go for men over 40, now you have a specific hormonal problem. Another one of my clients has men with man boobs, right? And he uses that as a sign that these guys have high estrogen, and that is the problem. Another, men, or it is men actually, but it doesn't really matter if they're men or females in this one, but men that have 9 to 5s. And the problem is, you are following all these Instagram influencers' advice and everything else, but you've got a 9 to 5. You need to learn from someone who's been able to get in shape from a 9 to 5, and then they have all of these unique solutions to be able to do that. So this is actually why you need to dig down, because then you can dig down to a unique problem and a unique solution. And this is real niching down. And we're going to go even deeper in that in a second. So principle one is 80% of marketing is selling the problem. Once you've been able to indoctrinate someone on your problem versus someone else's problem, and remember, most of your competition don't even know about this stuff, then you're going to be having a very good time. Number two, we sell ideas and we sell hope. This is what you are selling every single time that you put something out there. Now, we've already touched on this a lot, especially the ideas part, but now I'm going to really go deep into this, right? So selling ideas. When we understand the indoctrination ladder, which you now do, we understand that we're actually selling ideas constantly, right? Every idea that is sold is another step up your ladder. Like we said, the idea that I sell people on, which is 1,000,000% true, by the way, is the reason that you're not growing is because you are completely generic, just like everyone else in your market. So how the fuck would you ever be able to grow past anyone else if you all look the same, right? That's the first idea. The second idea, the solution is that you need to become a category of one. The third idea, the best way to do that is building a signal brand. And obviously, if I'm actually explaining it, I go way more into the detail of the framework and the 5 core pieces of that, but we don't need to do that right now. Each one of those is an idea. The beauty is, in every single piece of content that you put out, you are selling ideas. Right now, in this piece of content, I'm teaching you, but I'm selling you on ideas, right? In every single reel that I do, I'm sharing things, but I'm also selling ideas. Because the way that you actually want to create content now, when you understand this, is all of this, the whole indoctrination ladder becomes your lens, and you comment on things that are happening in the world, right? You comment on these things that are happening through your lens. So then people are being sold on your ideas. So this means that you are always selling, even when you are not actually directly selling, right? When they are sold on your ideas, then the physical sale becomes easy, which is how nowadays selling by a Google document is such a like a fashionable thing to do. And people teach how to sell on documents. They don't understand how to do it either. They can do it because they're big brands and everything else, but this is how you sell on documents. You sell the ideas all the way up until that point, so they're so sold on you that they wouldn't want to buy from anyone else anyway. This is real marketing. The second thing that this helps us do is sell hope, right? Hope is an essential ingredient if you want to make a sale, right? The best prospects willing to spend the most are the ones that have been in pain for longest. You know this, right? If someone has always been in shape and then they've just got out of shape and they haven't even tried anything else yet, do you think they're going to be willing to go and spend 2K on a program to change that? No. Most will not be. Some will. Most won't be. How about the person who has been out of shape for the last 5 years? They've tried countless times and they can never seem to crack it, but it's one of the biggest pains of their life because they've been in it for so long and they've been in this kind of prison of this pain. Do you think they're going to be willing to spend 2K if they believe it's going to change that situation and get them out of it for good? Yes, probably more. But the problem is, and you've probably already seen this just from the way that I described it, right? These are also the most skeptical, right? Those ones that have been in the pain for the longest, they've tried loads of things before, they're willing to spend so much, but they're also always going to be the most skeptical because they say things like, I've tried everything before, nothing works for me, something just must be wrong with me, right? This is why selling hope is so important. If you are literally just saying, if you're a fitness coach and you're selling to these people and you're saying, it's so simple, all you need is steps, eat less and move more, track your calories. Guess what? They've tried all that before, or at least they believe they've tried all of that before, right? Do you think that's going to fill them with hope? No. Do you think they're going to sign up with you? No, because they think they're just going to waste their money because they think they've tried everything before and nothing works. So when we have a unique indoctrination ladder, when we make someone aware of the real problem in our unique indoctrination ladder, right? When we make someone aware of the real problem, and it's a real problem that they've never considered before. So like let's take the over 40s fitness coach example, right? When we're able to come across and say, hey, you know all that like training you've tried and tracking the calories and training really hard and getting up early for runs and stuff, you know all that stuff that you've tried and it's never worked. I've got the reason why it hasn't worked. And it's not because you're not motivated. It's not because you weren't working hard. The reason that wasn't working for you is because of a problem that you've never looked at before, which is your hormones, right? Once they hear that, how do you think that's going to make them feel? Number one, everybody wants the release of responsibility. So they're going to be readily available to take that on board. Yes, it's not my fault, right? Number two, once they hear that, they're filled with hope. Oh my God, I've never looked at it this way. Maybe this time can be different. This is what they're thinking. And then when you're then able to show them the new solution, this is why I'm a testosterone hormonal specialist for men and we do it this way. They're now instilled with hope. This is what I've been missing all of this time. Hope is essential for someone to buy. Remember, if the solution sounds the same as everything else that they've tried, why would they buy? So this isn't just important to beat your competition. This is also important just to be able to give the right people hope that you can actually do this. Principle 3. Again, we've kind of covered this stuff, but it's really, really important. This is how you beat your competition and close their field of view, right? So every single time, this is another little drawing I've done because it's important. Every single time that you take someone up these levels of awareness, right? From pain aware to problem aware to solution aware to product aware, you are also shortening their field of view or shrinking their field of view. This is why someone close to the top of the steps of the ladder is is going to be way closer to buy than someone at the bottom, right? So someone at the bottom, pain aware, they are only ever aware of their pain, right? Let's say, for example, I'm going to give you an example of this now. Currently, my shoulder actually does hurt, right? I don't actually know why, but it does hurt. I've not been able to do pressing for a while. My chest is feeling a bit smaller. And that's my pain. Now, if I was to go to I'm only pain aware. So if someone was going to come to me and give me like, hey, do you want to buy these like steroid injections into your shoulder that's going to improve it? When my field of view is this wide of what could possibly solve it, right? Or even if there's an ad and it's like rotator cuff rehabilitation exercises that might pop up for me. When my field of view of potential solutions is this wide because I'm pain aware only, which means I'm not, my field of view hasn't closed and I haven't been clearer and clearer on what I actually need, I'm not going to buy any of these things. I'm not going to buy any of those things. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to listen to the message very much, and I'm definitely not going to buy it. If they somehow got me on a call, right? This like rehab specialist guy got me on a call, I'd say, oh, I need to think about it. It's not because I actually don't want to buy it. It's because I'm actually not sure if that's the right thing for me or not. So understand that every time someone steps up these levels of awareness, their field of view shrinks. So let's go back to my shoulder. If I went to the doctor is helping me become problem aware, right? They give you a diagnosis. So they would say, hey, the reason that your shoulder's hurting is it's a rotator cuff issue, probably from pressing too much than you have been pulling, probably from boxing. And you've got a rotator cuff issue, basically. Okay, now I'm problem aware. Someone's ringing me. 1 second. Okay, someone rang me there. Where did we get to? That's threw me off completely. So, shoulder, went to the doctor, and the doctor says, hey, this is a rotator cuff issue. Now, my field of view has shrunk of potential solutions, right? So now instead of my field of view being this wide, everything could possibly help this pain because I don't know where it is. Now I understand that it's a rotator cuff issue. The problem aware thing, this is throwing me off completely. I'm now saying thing and stuff. The problem aware field of view looks like this, right? My field of view for potential solutions has now shrunk, right? Someone with less solutions, someone with less options is much quicker to make a decision, right? I'm sure you've experienced that yourself. I'm actually sure that there is studies that show that. I just can't pluck one out of my brain right now. So now it's like this, right? So now that example I had of someone that might say, hey, I've got this like steroid injection thing. If it wasn't helping the rotator cuff, I don't want that anymore. I don't need that anymore. Now I'm more ready to make the decision. Then if that doctor then tells me, hey, you don't need a chiropractor. You don't need any injections. You don't need any operation. You just need to go find a shoulder specialist physio and he'll be able to sort you out in 2 weeks. Now I'm solution aware. Now my field of view shrinks even more. So then all of these options on the outside are a no-go for me anymore. And the options on the inside, I am much faster to make that decision now. I am much more ready to buy. I do not say I need to think about it anymore because I'm clear. So understand that people down at the pain aware level are overwhelmed by all of the options. They don't know. So we need to be able to take them through. Again, this is what someone is going to miss if they're only going straight to solution aware and they're doing what they can to get calls and then they keep hearing, I need to think about it. Right? So understand that this is also how we beat our competition, because as the field of view shrinks, anyone left on the outside, you've just beaten. So this is the invisible psychological battle that is happening between you and your competition. If you're competing for the same pain, you are competing for the same person. Every step up your ladder is a step away from theirs. So our game when we're doing this, right, is we want to be able to shorten their field of view so you're the only one left in it. And finally, this is real niching, right? Everybody gets told to niche down, but like, as I've already said, people only teach 50% of the story because they only know 50% of the story because most people are just regurgitating from other people, right? So they say, hey, you need to be clear on who you're working with, right? So they niche down to a pain in a person, they put it in their bio, but they change very little of anything else. I see this with fitness coaches all of the time. They will do that. They will say, hey, I work with busy professionals. I work with 9-to-5ers. I work with mums. But then nothing else actually changes. They're still talking about the exact same tips. They're not instilling anyone with an understanding and a diagnosis of what their problem is. And their program is the exact same shit that everyone else is selling. If your solution is the exact same shit that everyone else is selling, then what was the point in niching down in the first place, right? And I think fitness coaches, just off the cuff, I think fitness coaches are the worst for this because online fitness coaching has become this kind of thing where it's like, everything else, I feel like people realize that they are in a business and they're kind of making it up themselves. They're coming up with a solution. I feel like a lot of online fitness coaches, they see it as like it's like a job. So they're like, hey, I'm an online fitness coach now, so I better do my weekly check-ins and I better get on Trainerize and I better do this and I better do this. They're not actually realizing you are an entrepreneur first, creating solutions for specific problems. You can get creative with this stuff and you actually should do. Otherwise, you're not going to really be able to thrive. So when we understand the pain in the person, we realize that if you're just doing that and nothing else, not much is going to happen. Real niching down is completing the ladder, right? Real niching down is completing the ladder by using the specific pain and person that you've already honed in on to identify the real unique problem that is holding them back specifically, right? We've already talked about this. And then we use that real unique problem to create a truly unique solution for these people and for the problem. Specific process and specific mechanisms for all of that, right? So we've got a unique solution. So it's not just the same as everybody else. It's not just, if you're a fitness coach, weekly check-ins, blah, 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 training, nutrition, blah, blah, blah. You have your own things that are actually able to solve this specific problem. And then you have your specific process and roadmap, and you've got your specific mechanisms as well. This is how you truly become a category of one. This is where so many coaches go wrong. Any other business understands that if you get into the game of business and you just look the same as everyone else with nothing unique about you or your solution, you're going to lose. You're forced to stay in the average of earners as everyone else, because why wouldn't you? Right? But when you can actually understand all of this, you can then actually become a category of one, and you can bring your own unique solution to the market. The final principle, now you can really market. Remember, I said most people are just posting content. Now you can really market. And this is exactly how the indoctrination funnel is built that I use with my clients, right? So we have a funnel that is designed to do this. So first of all, because I realize now I haven't really touched on this, a lot of other videos on this channel will go into content and actually creating the content. Like, this is the soul and the foundation of that content, but we haven't talked much about content. So once you understand this, all you need to understand when it comes to content, right, just for the scope of this video, is everything, or, you know, some things are just sharing yourself. That's absolutely fine and a good idea as well. But like 80% of the stuff that you put out is designed to take people through these levels of awareness, right? From understanding to hooking them in on pain, telling them what the real problem is, telling them what the real solution is, and then most of the time making them aware of some sort of product that's going to be able to help them do that, right? Most content is going to do that. It's either going to do that in one piece of content, or your content over the week, over the month, and overall is going to be able to be selling them on these ideas. That's what you need to understand about content. But what I like to do with people, right, what my clients do, what I do, is once we've got this unique message, we don't just want to hope that we say the right thing every week that's going to take someone up it every week and hope they see all of it. We want to systemize the message, right? So this is why we create the indoctrination funnel. So when you're doing all of your content and you're attracting attention, you've got one singular thing to be able to drive people to, that actually is designed meticulously and engineered to be able to actually take them up these levels of awareness. So you have a pain aware hook, because obviously if it was a solution aware hook or a problem aware hook, it would be less people to be able to indoctrinate. So we have a pain aware hook for this VSL and for this lead magnet, right? So a pain aware hook, something that people are already aware of, and we say that we're going to solve it inside this video. And then we have an indoctrination VSL. VSL stands for video sales letter. An indoctrination VSL that drives people up the ladder, specifically designed to take people from pain to then show them all of the ways that that specific person in pain is going wrong, what the problem really is, what the solution is, and then it sells them on their offer. And then we have an acquisition offer, which is specifically designed to be really, really easy to say yes to acquire clients, that gives them the exact solution that they've been psychologically sold on within that funnel as well. So what this basically means for you, because this isn't a video on the indoctrination funnel, is you should not be doing any more generic content, and especially not generic lead magnets. So many coaches are just putting out shit lead magnets, right? Or shit anything really, but shit lead magnets. They're like, oh, I think I'll do a calorie calculator, or I think I'll do journal prompts, and they're just shit, right? You can get people's emails that way, but you're not actually doing any marketing. You're not actually taking them up the levels of awareness and selling them on you. Every single thing, especially assets like lead magnets and stuff, should be meticulously designed to drive people up the ladder and sell them on your ideas, right? It should be meticulously designed to hook people in that have the pain, and then throughout their consumption of it, should make them aware of the problem, and then should make them aware of the right solution, and then your product. That is an asset that sells. So finally, applying this to yourself, really simple thing to go away and do. Map this out for yourself. You always start with pain. What is the pain in the person that you're going to go for? I think sometimes people overemphasize on like niching down to a really, really specific thing. I saw some fitness coach recently, his ad came up and he was niching down to like, if you're a Formula One fan, I'm going to help you lose weight. That just makes no sense, because You know, what would a Formula One fan have that's a different problem than anyone else? Maybe a Formula One driver, not a Formula One fan, right? So I think people sometimes over-index on that for no reason. But hopefully through this video, or potentially you've seen that maybe your pain in person isn't clear enough yet for the rest of this to be clear. So decide that first. And then you decide from your own expertise, from your own knowledge, from everything that you already are, your own philosophies, your own values, your own beliefs, what's the real problem? What's the problem that they're not seeing for themselves yet? What's the real problem to sell them on, right? And then what's the actual solution? And remember, the more unique this solution is to you, so your own unique mechanisms, your own unique process, your own unique way of doing this, the better. And then you have a product, and hopefully you've already got a product. That is the indoctrination ladder. I promise you, this is an absolute game changer. Let me know what you think in the comments.